I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com. And this is Ezzy, our scriptwriter here at Versus.
Hey, hi.
I'll be heading off to Japan for a couple of weeks, and he'll be taking care of you guys while I'm gone for the next few videos. So, sayonara, enjoy, and I'll see you guys when I'm back.
Alright, let's get this video started. The new MacBook Neo might be one of the best deals Apple has dropped in years, but what some people might not realize is that Apple already had a $599 computer on their hands, the base iPad paired with the Magic Keyboard Folio. Both come in at exactly $599, both are super compact, and both are more than enough to get you through a school day. We're taking a deep dive into the design, display, battery, performance, and cameras to lay out exactly what you're gaining or giving up when you choose one over the other. And remember, you can join our community by hitting the join button below for exclusive videos and perks. Also, here's a huge shout out to Mohammed, Castlegate Music, Joe, Howie Chuck, Nishant, and Segul for becoming Ultra members. The iPad is technically more compact, but both devices will slide into any backpack or bag with ease. They both come in super funky bright colors and have an aluminum build, though the iPad does have a slightly hollow feel. The MacBook Neo looks and feels as premium as every other MacBook. You've got a full keyboard, a sturdy hinge, and the display. On the other hand, the Magic Keyboard Folio for the iPad attaches magnetically and comes in two pieces, a protective back cover with a kickstand and a detachable keyboard. This connects via pogo pins, meaning it doesn't need a battery. The Neo sits at 2.7 pounds, while the iPad with the Folio isn't actually that much lighter, coming in at 2.3 pounds. The trackpads are mechanical and definitely smaller than what you'd find on a 13-inch MacBook Air, but they work flawlessly. Key travel feels great on both, though keep in mind neither keyboard is backlit. For security, you get Touch ID on the iPad, but on the Neo it's only included on the 512GB model, which is $100 more expensive. On the base Neo, you just get a random lock key. For ports, the Neo gives you two USB-C ports, one USB 3 and one USB 2. You also get a 3.5mm headphone jack. The iPad only has a single USB-C port and is restricted to USB 2 transfer speeds. Because the Neo is a traditional laptop, you don't get much flexibility. The iPad, however, is a transformer. You can use it as a laptop, flip the keyboard around, or detach it entirely to use the iPad for drawing, cooking, or watching movies on a plane. Although because of that same kickstand, using it on your lap becomes almost impossible, whereas it is not a problem for the Neo. But now let's take a closer look at these displays. You get a 13-inch display on the Neo and a smaller 10.86-inch panel on the iPad. Both are IPS with a 60Hz refresh rate. In our typical high brightness test, where we simulate direct sunlight at over 100,000 lux, both devices peaked at just over 500 nits, which perfectly matches the advertised specs for both. For even more info on screen specs, you can pause the video right here. For output support, the Neo supports one external monitor at up to 4K 60Hz. This in addition to the built-in display, meaning you can extend your desktop or use the monitor with the lid closed. The iPad also supports one 4K 60Hz monitor, but it's restricted to mirroring, so whatever is on your iPad screen is what you'll see on the monitor. But exclusively talking about the built-in displays, we prefer the larger dimensions of the Neo, but that's really its only win here. Both support the same HDR formats and reach the same peak brightness, but the iPad takes the lead with a higher pixel density. Most importantly, the iPad is a touchscreen, so you can interact directly with your apps when the keyboard is detached. Plus, it gives you the ability to draw or take notes with an Apple Pencil, which the Neo just can't do. But what about the audio? Both devices come with two speakers. On the Neo they are here, while the iPad has them on the sides. Here's a quick audio sample for you, but keep in mind recorded speaker audio can sound a little bit different than what you hear in person.
I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no else, I gotta get a no call to quit, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this.
So it's pretty clear the Neo gives you higher quality beats, while the iPad sounds rather flat. Also, as we mentioned before, you have a 3.5mm headphone jack on the Neo for wired headphones. By the way, we know a lot of you are loving our content, so if you haven't yet, consider hitting that subscribe button. It really helps us keep doing what we love. Also, check out the direct links to both of these devices in the description if you want to make any of this yours. Alright, before we check the performance, let's take a super quick look at the camera. The iPad comes with a 12-megapixel rear camera, and the photos are decent, but most people will use it for scanning documents anyway. You can also film in 4K at 60 FPS, and while the quality isn't bad, you're almost definitely better off just using your phone. But let's focus on the front-facing cameras, since that's what you'll use for video calls. Both devices sport 12-megapixel sensors and max out at 1080p resolution. As you can see, the image quality on the Neo isn't exactly amazing. The dynamic range is okay, but the iPad simply handles it better. The iPad also features a super wide field of view that enables center stage, which dynamically keeps you in the frame during calls. Now this is an example of how audio sounds like on the MacBook Neo. How's my voice sounding? Is it like alright? And this is how it sounds on the iPad. Is it better than on the full-fledged computer? Let's talk about it. Voice audio is fairly similar on both, though the Neo does have a slightly higher output volume compared to the iPad. And now it's finally time to check the performance. In the Neo, we have the A18 Pro chipset, while the iPad runs on the A16. For RAM, we're looking at 8GB and 6GB respectively. Both use what are known as binned chipsets. These are chips that didn't hit manufacturing standards, so their defective cores are disabled and the chips are repurposed for more affordable devices. As for connectivity, the iPad does offer a cellular version if you absolutely need 5G on the go, which the Neo lacks. Here you can check the rest of the hardware specs. But to see what these chips can actually do, we push them through some real-world testing, starting with some gaming. We ran Wuthering Waves at max graphics on both, and the Neo actually saw lower FPS and higher temperatures. This is easily explained though. The Mac OS version of the game allows for much deeper graphics settings and a higher resolution, whereas the iPad version is heavily capped. So the iPad delivers a smoother frame rate, but the Neo gives you better visuals. For video rendering, we exported a 4K 25fps project in Adobe Premiere. Just like with gaming, apps are built differently for macOS and iPad OS. The macOS version can handle higher video quality and offers a more detailed workflow. Hence, the Neo took longer here because of a more heavy-duty rendering process compared to the lighter iPad version. We also exported 99 photos in Lightroom. Since the app is nearly identical on both platforms, it's our most direct comparison, and the Neo crushed it, finishing the export in just 3 minutes. In the Geekbench CPU test, the Neo delivered much higher numbers in single core, but the multi-core gap was even bigger. For graphics, the Neo outperformed the iPad by over 10,000 points in the Geekbench GPU benchmark. And finally, in 3D Mark's Solar Bay, which tests ray tracing, the Neo took an absolute lead over the iPad, which barely got off the ground. So in terms of power, the MacBook Neo is literally playing in another league, as its apps offer more features compared to the lighter iPad OS versions. Most people will be more than fine with either device, whether you surf the web, watch movies, take notes, write a paper, or even do some light gaming, both will be more than enough. Though if you do need that extra punch, the Neo will have your back. But let's dive a bit deeper about those software differences. The Neo runs full macOS on that iPhone chipset, while the iPad comes with iPad OS, and both should see about 7 years of software support. If you've used a Mac before, the Neo will feel like home. The iPad, however, is a bit of a weird hybrid between a Mac and an iPhone, but with the addition of Stage Manager, multi-window support, slide over, and improved window management, iPad OS has finally become what it should have been from the start. Plus, the trackpad and keyboard make multitasking feel much more natural. Honestly, after spending some time with it, it's not that hard to adapt to it if you're coming from a Mac. That said, there is one huge disadvantage, but also one massive perk. On macOS, the apps are just better. You get full-fledged desktop applications, and you can install software from anywhere, not just the App Store. On the iPad, you're stuck with mobile versions of apps and 0 app installs from the internet, except in Europe and Japan, where you can install apps from the web or third-party marketplaces. But the touchscreen in the iPad completely changes how you interact with the UI, allowing you to grab, move, and use gestures directly on the display. And if you're an artist, you don't even need an external graphics tablet, you can draw directly on the screen. Now let's wrap things up with battery and price. As the power plants of these devices, we have a 36.5 watt-hour battery on the Neo and a 28.93 watt-hour cell on the iPad. Apple lists supported charging speeds, but they don't specify a maximum for either. Now we've landed at the price. As you already know, both of these configurations will set you back exactly $599, which for Apple is actually a really good deal. However, there are a few things to keep in mind. If you want to match the Neo's 256GB of base storage on the iPad, it's going to cost you an extra $100. That's money that could buy you a pack of 4 AirTags or some Renew AirPods. Also, if you want to add a Magic Mouse to your MacBook or an Apple Pencil to your iPad, that's another $79 for each. If we had to sum up these devices, we'd say they're both jack of all trades but masters of none. You just have to list your priorities and your winner will pretty much reveal itself. With the Neo, you get a complete package, a keyboard, a trackpad, and no need for a case. You get more ports and the power of macOS, but the trade-off is the lack of a touchscreen, a heavier footprint, and no modularity. On the flip side, the iPad is the king of flexibility. You can use it caseless, as a floating display, or as a laptop, and you can use it in any position. Plus, you get a touchscreen and stylus support. But professional apps might not be as advanced as their desktop counterparts. If you're wondering, hey, can I edit a documentary on either of these? Well, then neither of this is for you. But if you're looking for a reliable device to toss into your backpack for school or a weekend trip, both are fantastic options. We're still amazed that Apple released something like the MacBook Neo. It feels like a secret project from a dev team that was just too good not to ship. It also makes you realize how much potential is sitting inside the iPad and iPhone, considering these chipsets can clearly handle macOS. Maybe one day we'll see an iPhone that runs macOS when you plug it into a monitor. Hey, we can always dream. Oh, and greetings from Olive from Japan. And before you go watch just one more video, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and hit subscribe, as we're always testing new devices to help you make the best choice. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.
Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com. Oh, I think you should say, and I'm Ezzy, not me.
Gosh, me or you?
So he'll be taking care of you guys while I'm gone. Enjoy. No, sorry. Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com. And this is Ezzy, our script.
I don't know, that was awkward.
Second. So, sayonara, enjoy, and I'll see you guys when I'm back.
Alright, let's get this comparison started.
No, it was so good!
Alright, let's get the video started.
What happened?
Video.
What happened? That was really good.
I know.
Okay, have fun.
My mouth is dry.
So, enjoy. Now. I can't anymore. I did like too many times and now I just... Okay, sorry, this is the one now. Final. He'll be taking care of... No, I go to Japan first, right? Oh my god, why is this so hard? It's like...
I know.
Jesus. So, enjoy your time here at with the videos.
In this place.
In this place.
Right here.
He's
around.
Great. Bye.